So today we're going to look at a new capability that's been added to the Cordova Builder, and that's the ability to build iOS apps using the Xcode Cli tools. And this allows you to build the app in a similar way that you can do with Android, install it on a device or install it on a simulator. And when using auto provisioning, it makes it very easy. You don't have to go through the hassle of generating all of your provisioning profiles and your developer profiles and so on. So it's really quite nice. So to do it, just open up the Cordova App Builder. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and create a new project, and we'll call this thing Show Cars because that's the component I'm going to be working with. And we're going to do an iOS build. We're going to pick our initial component, which is my Show Cars component. And I'll make some changes here. So say com.alpha.show cars, and then we'll call the app Show Cars. And that's about all I'm going to need to do with this one. It's going to include the Alpha WK WebView engine by default because I'm using iOS. Really don't need any other plugins here. Save and launch the Cordova CLI Builder. It's going to build all the assets now. And once that's done, it's going to bring up the Cordova CLI Project Builder properties. We're going to generate an iOS build script. And previously, all you had was Xcode, so you would just generate a bash script that would drive, build an Xcode project, and you would open that up in Xcode to build it and install it on a device or install it on a simulator, and you had to set up your provisioning profiles and so on like that. But now you can use the Xcode CLI tools, and you've got a number of new options that appear. So iOS build type, since we're doing development build, we'll do debug. If you're doing a release build, you could do that there. In this case, I want to install and run the app after the build. And what would you like to deploy it to? So if you have a comparable device that you can tie into your machine, you could install it on the device. I'm going to use a simulator here because I am running on an older Mac that is not compatible with my iPhone 13. So I have to install on a simulator here. So this older Mac does not support the current release of Xcode. So I've got an older operating system and an older version of Xcode that does support up to the iPhone 12. So I could still do my testing on that. So I'm going to do an iPhone 12 simulator. Code signing identity here, you can leave that as iPhone developer. It could really be anything you want. The development team, this comes from your developer.apple.com account, and it is the number that's right up in this corner here. So you just want to copy that number or write it down. You can copy and paste it if you want, but that's the number you're going to need, and that's what goes in here. And package type in this case we'll say is development. We'll go ahead and say build the app. It's done. And now we can show the results of that. And of course, the results are all the packaged files, and now we've got a build.sh file. This is the bash script that you need to run on your Mac that will build the whole project. So these two files, you can, if you're on a Windows machine, you can just copy those files to a network drive or to the cloud or whatever you have to, but ultimately these are the files that you want to install on your Mac, and you'll be using terminal to run the bash script, and we'll get into that in just a second. Okay, so now I've switched over to my Mac, and we're looking at a directory where I have installed the files. So this is the Show Cars project here. What I'm going to do is right-click here, and I'm going to open up a new terminal at folder. You can navigate to this same directory in terminal. It's easy enough to do, but that's a nice little trick to know about. I'm going to go ahead and just close that out, and then we'll just do a quick listing here to see we've got the two files. And now to start the whole process off, we just type in bash build.sh. This will build the whole Cordova app on the Mac, install the appropriate plugins, and now the iOS Xcode project is created. So at this point, this was where you would be launching Xcode at this point and working with the files that were just created. Let's take a look at them in Finder so you can see them. So it's going to be in the Show Cars directory under Platforms, iOS. This is the Xcode project that you would typically open up in Xcode right here. And then from there you would build the project and so on. But now using the CLI tools, we don't need to do that. So what we can do is it's telling us to press return to build, install, and run the app on the iPhone 12 simulator that we had requested, or Control-C to abort. So in this case, I'm going to just hit enter, and it's going to build and run the app. Now there's a long process that it goes through here in the creation of the app. Once the build is succeeded, it's going to deploy to the simulator. It's launching the simulator right now. And here it comes. The app is loaded, and there it is. So this is the Show Cars app that I was referring to. In this case, it's just a simple little app that shows some cool pictures of some cars that I like. It switches to different types. These are McLarens. These are Porsches. And then it goes back to Ferraris. So kind of a cool little test app. What we've shown you here today is using the new Xcode CLI tools in Alpha Anywhere to build a Xcode CLI app and install it on a simulator. Hope you enjoyed that.